So the next strategy that we have will lead us towards more transformative relationships, which is being able to build together. So remember that relationships are dynamic and require continuous effort. So by finding different ways to build together, whether that is learning a new skill or checking in on each other, we can continue to nurture our relationships that help move them from that transactive to transformative space. And building together includes things like asking for help or offering help, spending time to co-create. So thinking about co-creating lesson plans, co-creating activities, co-creating projects together if you're working in a department. And then learning skills together, since we are all learning and growing. And acknowledging that we all have unique experiences and skills and perspectives that, when put together, can create something really great. So, learning from each other or learning something new together helps build transformative relationships that are once again grounded in that mutual benefit, right? When we first started out, we acknowledged that transformative relationships are based in that space where mutual benefit and both parties are able to see kind of the benefits from. So, some of the ways that we can tangibly build skills together is by normalizing mistakes in our relationships or normalizing asking for help. And this really stems from a relationship that celebrates willingness to share so that everyone can grow together and support one another. And to do that, your site may want to create what we call at Healthcare Generation a whoops wall. And here, staff can build together by normalizing mistakes so that they are better able to show up as their full selves. With the whoops wall, staff are encouraged to acknowledge and share that they have goofed up and take a moment to reflect on what they have learned from the experience. So this type of activity allows for staff to learn from each other through their trials and errors. And it really is a great reminder that we are all just practicing and learning and growing every day, right? Everyone makes mistakes, and let's learn from that mistake together. So let's practice staying in transformation by building skills together. These transformation muscles require practice since they might not be flexed all the time. So when we're thinking about normalizing mistakes, I want you to think about what is maybe one whoops you had recently, maybe this past week, this past month. What is one whoops that you had? So next, we're going to transition into kind of what is this student strategy for building skills together. And we're thinking about encouraging self-reflection in students and modeling it in ourselves and how that is so crucial to building positive relationships and reducing conflict and harm. We know that self-regulation is an important social emotional skill to identify and manage our emotions and really helps prepare you and your students for learning and overall just engaging and socializing with others. Self-regulation strategies can prevent behavioral issues as students will be able to assess their needs or address a conflict from a regulated place as opposed to, resorting to yelling or fighting or really just responding in that trauma response, which comes from a place of harm. So how can we help our students and learn and build these skills as well as building them in ourselves? Because we might not have had that either. So learning and modeling and building together really becomes key when we're thinking about self-regulation and social emotional skills. And we're going to build together by practicing a self-regulation moment. And if you are a leader in a classroom, consider incorporating what we call me moments into your students' daily routine. And if you're a leader of staff, reflect on opportunities for staff to practice self-awareness and self-reflection. Maybe it's at the beginning of a staff meeting or as a gentle reminder in like your all staff newsletter or weekly email to your staff. How can we kind of embed this in the culture? And we're going to go ahead and practice together, right? We're practicing and modeling the transformation that we want to see in these relationships. So go ahead and get into a comfortable position, sitting or standing, and feel free to close your eyes or just soften your gaze, whatever is safe and comfortable for you to do so. And I want you to just start to notice your breath. Notice how it just kind of fills your belly with air. Just notice the natural ebbs and flows. Is your breath deep? Is it shallow? And on your next natural inhale, go ahead and breathe in through your nose and fill your belly with air. And on your exhale, breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. So one long kind of sustained breath through your mouth. And then inhaling through your nose. And this time, pretending like there's a candle in front of you and making that flame flicker. So kind of staccato or pointed breaths. And all the way until your belly is nice and empty. And then in through your nose again. And out of your mouth like you're blowing out the candle in front of you. Nice sustained breath until you are empty. And your next natural inhale comes in through your nose. And then out like you're blowing out the candle and making it flicker. And go ahead and take one more round on your own to your own natural kind of ebbs and flows with your breath. The first one, like you're blowing out the candle. And the next one, like you're making that candle flame flicker. And then once you are through with your next natural inhale and exhale, go ahead and kind of rejoin us, open your eyes, or just refocus on the screen. And just take a moment to assess how you are feeling. How are you feeling after just doing, a little 1 or 2 minutes of self-regulation, of just noticing where your breath is, calling out where your feelings were beforehand and now where they might be. And it's okay if they're the same, right? We're just noticing and not placing any judgment on it, just noticing to notice, noticing so that we know where we're at. All right. And we're going to wrap this up with how to build with our families, right? Building skills, building stories together with our families. And I want you all to consider lifting opportunities for families to give feedback. And having a feedback mechanism allows families to provide input on what they would like to see and helps them be part of the solution, right? So when we think of family engagement, it's not on families or for families, it's with families. So how can they be a part of making that solution? And feedback mechanisms can be used as a collaboration tool to really just start a conversation for shared decision making, right? That might be just the first step, the open door to allow families into that conversation. So let's go ahead and check out how one of America's Healthiest Schools winners in 2023 provided a variety of activities that open the pathways for everyone in that school to feel comfortable engaging with the school. They gathered information and communicated with families using different technological tools. So they offered in-person meetings, they offered virtual convenings. They connected to families with a specific liaison for family engagement at their school. They also offered feedback mechanisms in different modalities. So they offered paper copies, they offered digital surveys, all things to really get more in contact and get more families connected with them at the school. And like I said, they had so many opportunities to engage in person as well as virtually, and offered a lot of different times during either the day to engage or during the evenings and on weekends. So, really trying to figure out where and how families are able to show up and meet them where they're at is really, really important when we're thinking about engaging with families.